What is going on, brother? Welcome to today's episode. We have a very special episode for you today. We are continuing with our Becoming an Unbreakable Man series. This is installment 3 of 7. We're going to be walking you through all of the main sections. This is really the first module of our online program. I'll just kind of give it away. And I really want you to get the nuance out of this and really use this to your advantage. This is powerful, powerful stuff. In today's episode, I'm walking you through how to become emotionally adaptable and why that's important, what an emotion is. Obviously, we unpack that. We dive into the framework to identify emotions, but not just, diving into your emotions, but actually using them for your advantage, because sometimes we don't even realize it, but emotions really run the show. If you think about just the entire experience of being a human, everything is emotional. It really is. Now, when you're in control of your emotional state, meaning you, regardless of situation and circumstance, you are in control of your internal environment and your internal state, that is your center of power. If you can do that, then you are in command. If you can control your emotional state, you win. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you think about a goal, as an example, if you want, let's say, the house or the $1 million or whatever, and oftentimes people say, I ask the question, well, why do you want that? And oftentimes people will say, well, I want it because I want to be able to go do the things and buy the things. And he's like, well, why? Why do you want that? And it's like, well, I want to feel ease and joy and freedom. It's like, okay, great. Well, could you feel ease and joy and freedom right now without that? And then the answer is invariably yes. Like, there's always the underlying emotion to the actual thing that we want. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not going to go after goals. I think goals are important. And I think just the activity of pursuit is important, because that stimulates dopamine and norepinephrine and epinephrine and all the endorphins that we get just from pursuing, just from taking action. It's like, why do writers write and why do artists paint? It's like because they love the pursuit of it. But it's not the outcome that we must have, because we know that we are already that individual if we can control our emotional state and we can become emotionally adaptable. And this is actually one of the most important parts of becoming an unbreakable man, without a shadow of a doubt. If you can do this, then you're going to win in life. And what I want you to get out of this is really just the framework. That is the main parts. If you join the brotherhood and the coaching program, you'll actually dive into shadow work and really unpacking all of the elements of yourself that you've been just under the surface, haven't even been even able to see. It's all the subconscious mindset blocks and all those self-sabotaging patterns that get in the way of us actually pursuing our dreams and living the life we want to live. So if you want to join the course and really dive into that stuff and get the coaching, then, obviously do that. You can sign in and click the link below. As another announcement, I'm really excited to share this with you, because we have opened up 10 spots, and this is an event, and it only has 10 spots, I should say. Our event in May 4th through the 7th in Austin, Texas. This is the Unbreakable Man experience. If you haven't heard of this, this is going to change your life, without a shadow of a doubt. If you go through this and you experience and dive deep into yourself. This is an in-person 3-day transformation. This is like a rite of passage, a ritual initiation for yourself to dive deeper and find out who you are, what you're made of. It will challenge you mentally, physically, and emotionally. It is by design. In fact, I don't tell you what's going to be in it, even though you can probably guess a couple of the evolutions. But I really want you to know that you are guided through a process, and it is a challenge for you to unpack, to find your power, understand your purpose, and unlock your potential. Those are the things that you will absolutely get out of this. If that is of interest, I will tell you this: 10 spots goes fast. Absolutely register, sign up, click the link in the description. It's also, if you're looking for it, it's unbreakableman.lpages, LPAGES.co/experience. So register for that one. You got to apply. I have denied people just based on certain elements. You got to be mentally, physically, emotionally available, ready to go. You got to have a growth mindset on that one. So we do need to hop on a call, make sure that you're ready to go. And any major injuries, I'm talking like recent surgeries. So if you got that stuff, don't even worry about applying. You can maybe come to the next one later in the year. You'll get a ton out of it. I promise you this. As always, enjoy today's episode. If you like this podcast, please consider sharing it. I'm really hoping to help as many men as possible on this life, and this is such a great way to get the word out. And so if you could, please share with somebody that you know would benefit. And as always, I love you guys, and I'll see you in the episode. What is up, beautiful humans? This is Dr. Dave Cahotis. I am on a mission to forge strong, heart-centered, and purpose-driven men. And this podcast is here to help you stop managing your problems and start breaking free of stress, limiting beliefs, and excuses that stop you from executing at your fullest potential, living with passion, and being the man you want to be. So let's go. If you want to be a man of high value and get the results you want in your work, in your relationships, in your life, you have to understand emotional adaptability. You'll hear me use that term a lot because it's the best term I've been able to identify that describes the process of deep work. And when I say deep work, I mean the process of going deep within to your psyche, down into the subconscious mind, into that cavern you've been running from, to face the dragon within, which is you running from yourself, and ultimately claim who you fucking are. All of the parts you've been running from, on all the feelings of shame and guilt and grief and all of this stuff. Now, in this lesson, I'm going to walk you through just the basics of what to consider and what to think about when you are stepping into deep work. It's almost like setting up the primer, and then we're going to have another lesson that will actually walk you through the process. But first, I want to just work on the primer, knowing what you need to do, where you need to go, what the process is, what's happening psychologically, so that you can be the man you want to be. Now, this is a process of wholeness. I call it a journey to remember, right? We're taking all the lost pieces of us and we're putting them together. Being an unbreakable man doesn't mean that you can't be broken. This is important. I've said this before many times, but I'll say it again here. Being an unbreakable man actually means being adaptable. And what are we being adaptable to? And it's not just physical adaptability, it's mental, emotional adaptability. It's reclaiming all of the parts of our psyche that we've lost because when we were a child, we experienced some form of micro-trauma. And that micro-trauma could lead into be consistent and lead to macro-trauma. And so I want you to start thinking about moments in your life where you felt lost, you felt hurt, you felt you got blamed, you felt shameful, guilty, all of these things. Over the course of this online program, Becoming an Unbreakable Man, and even right now, whether you're listening on the podcast side of this, I'm going to guide you into the depths of your being. To do this, it does require that you have some things in place. You have to know that you're about to go do some deep work. You have to intend that you're going to look at something. I'm going to talk about what an emotion is and all that stuff, and talk about the sensations and psyche and all these things. But I want to take this idea that emotions are bad, or that you are unable to express emotions, especially as a man. Now, here's the deal. I've gone to war. I've been there. I know what that feeling is like. I know that in the heat of battle, in war, you can't cry. You just can't. Like, there's no time to break down, right? So you learn very quickly how to stuff your emotions to the side or in the back or whatever it is. As you age, that energy, I'm going to use the word energy a lot. You're going to hear me say that. It is literally energy, right? Just like testosterone is energy and progesterone is energy, right? This is literally just neuro and biochemical inside of our body. If we break our cells down into molecules, into atoms, in the space between spaces from the nucleus to the electron is literally just 99% space that is potential energy. It's all energy. Everything in this universe is energy. So let's get off the idea that energy is woo-woo or that it's something out there. It's actually, we are commanding it, and we can command it through our awareness and our allowing. I'm going to say that our awareness and our allowing of the energy. We'll talk about that more specifically. But I want to get over the idea that emotions are bad. No emotions are bad. There are no bad emotions. Not even shame, not even guilt, not even grief, not even pain, not even sadness, not even depression. It's not bad. These energies are I'm going to, again, use certain words here. And these energies are generally more dense. These dense energies don't necessarily feel good. We don't necessarily want to feel them all the time, but they're not bad. It's just evidence. There is no bad and there is no good. It's just part of the experience. Everything in life is your experience and how you are experiencing it. You are the commander of your life. If you don't recognize that you are responsible, what I mean by responsible, I mean able to respond. If you are not responsible for your life, you will not get the results you want. You must take 100% responsibility for how you experience your life. Now, what I mean by that is you might get circumstances in your life that you frankly don't agree with. You might have an HOA, I'll raise my hand, that tells you to do things you do not agree with. Now, you can get super pissy and you can feel super rageful and you can carry that over into other areas of your life. Or you can learn how to process it, get over it, and move on. I highly recommend the latter because it's a lot easier. You know how to release the energy, you know how to release the pressure, and you can actually get the results you want. Now, if you don't have responsibility, again, I will come back to this responsibility part over and over and over again. If you don't have responsibility, you just won't get the results you want. So that means you are moving from reaction into response. And I will say this again in a later lesson. You are moving from reaction, reenacting an old pattern, into response, moving from an unconscious being into a conscious being. You are becoming response able. So, what is an emotion? An emotion, what you might have heard this before, is energy in motion. And emotion is how we are viscerally experiencing the world around us. Your wife could say one thing on Friday and say the exact same thing on Monday, but you might be in a different vibration, might be in a different state of mind, and you experience that totally different. One day you'll feel super pissed and rageful. The other day you'll be like, oh yeah, I can kind of see where she's coming from. Maybe you've done something in the meantime to have a different perspective. This happens all the time. And emotion is literally just how we are experiencing our reality, our life. It is just a sensation in the body. It is neuro and biochemical being flooded through a cascade of pathways, of physiologic pathways in the body. Oftentimes, we feel certain energies or states of being when our testosterone is high. We feel good, we feel vigor, we feel exuberant. In that, we might feel joy, we might feel satisfied, we might feel juicy. Whatever is right for you, it's good. Just allow yourself to feel it. It's a feeling. Now, here's the cool thing. You can command that. You can control that. The quality of your life is absolutely directly related to the quality of your state of being at any given moment. I'm going to say that one more time. The quality of your life is directly related to the quality of the state of being that you are in. And what I mean by that is your vibration. You're going to hear me use the word vibe a lot. Vibration. What does that mean? Vibration, again, energy is carried on waves. That's just vibration, energy, information. So literally, like, energy is coming out of my throat, right? It's coming from me through this microphone into your computer or phone, coming through your ears, and then you're experiencing it. It's literally just translating energy. That's all it is. Where does the information live? Does the information live inside the microphone? No, it's just a transmitter. Does the information live inside the phone or the camera? No, it's just a transmitter. Does the information live inside of you? No, you're just a transmitter. You're just a receiver and a transmitter. We're all just receiving and transmitting. Why I bring this up is that energy, especially emotion, carries information. We can collect information. It's just wavelengths. Information is carried. Light is light from the sun, light from the spotlight, right? It's just literally carrying information. Same thing with radio waves. We know that the radio waves roll through the air They magically go into the receiver, whether that's your phone or the old school, I'm going to say the word boombox. That dates me for sure. It goes into the radio and then you receive it, right? But it's carrying information. And then that information hits you a certain way. Maybe you feel good. Maybe you feel not good. Even just right now, as I'm saying this stuff, you might feel a certain way. You might feel like, all right, you might feel like ready. You might feel trustful. You might feel like engaged. All right, I got this. Maybe your brain is off thinking about something else and you're not feeling it, right? So noted, right? When you are engaged with whatever you're doing, you're actually going to feel more euphoria. Keep that in mind about being distracted from the phone. But going back to emotion, I want you to think that energy and motion, that's all it is. It's just sensation in the body. And you are able to feel it. You are absolutely 100% able to feel it. It's just energy, sensations. I'm okay to feel this. I am courageous enough to feel this. I can feel this. Why did I say courageous enough? Because it takes courage to go deep. It takes courage to go within. I've had veterans come through my program and they've said it's easier to run into battle than it is to run into myself, which can be true sometimes. Because going deep into yourself, you're going to have to start seeing and feeling things that you've been running from. And I want you to know that you're not alone in that. That's why I have the Brotherhood. If you're not in the Brotherhood, then sign up for the Brotherhood. You can do that by logging in, right? Sign up for the course. You'll get the Brotherhood for free for 6 weeks. So as you're going through this program, this process, just know that you're going to feel feelings. Have a support net around you to help you through your process. I call it being in your process, moving energy. You're going to move energy. You're going to raise your vibe. Energy, shame, the ones that we consider low or bad, we consider them bad. There's no such thing as bad, but it's just information. The emotions that we consider bad are going to be like shame and guilt and grief and hurt and these things. And those carry a more dense or lower vibration. I'm going to say lower vibration. Just again, this is just sort of like the spectrum of light, right? We know that gamma radiation is like really, really, really fast. And then on the other side, ultraviolet is really, really, really slow. So we know that there's like there's a lot of light spectrum. We can only see so much. The same is true for our emotional states, our emotional well-being. The experience that you have in life is based on how much energy are you able to bring in. If you want an amazing life, joy and satisfaction and connection and love, are you willing to recognize that there's something on the other side of it? You can only feel and experience what you are willing to let yourself feel. I'm kind of jumping ahead, but what that means is that if you're not willing to feel the pain, you're not going to be able to experience the joy. Everything in this reality is relative. You can't have the up without the down. You can't have the light without the dark. If it was all just light, you wouldn't actually get what you really want. It would just be one thing. It would just be light. So in order to feel true love and true essence and joy and satisfaction and pleasure, and you actually have to feel the other feelings. That's why there's no such thing as good or bad. They're just balance points. So if you want to feel like absolute bliss, you actually have to feel shame. I know that sounds like kind of backwards and weird, but you have to be willing to feel shame and that accept shame is a thing. And then you're like, oh my God, I was holding myself down this entire time. Holy shit. And then you're like, you go through the deep work, you go through the process, you let it go. You take the emotional charge away from the moment or the experience or the statement that you're telling yourself. And then all of a sudden, boom, you feel incredible euphoria. And you allow yourself to dissipate and express that energy from you. And then that's where the good stuff lies. That's the good stuff. But again, it requires responsibility, telling the truth, knowing that you are responsible for your experience. It requires courage, that you're willing to go deep within yourself. And then after that, you actually do the deep work. So I'm going to walk you through the actual process. And then in another lesson, we're going to actually do it together. So I'm just going to walk you through the process. But I want you to know that like energy is not, it's just like emotions are not bad. And experiencing them is not bad. But you got to be able to set yourself up for success. Okay? Got to set yourself up for success. So you're going to do it in this order. Okay? Number one, you must have a safe space for you to express yourself. I'm going to go back to this idea of expression. If you let energy start to build up inside of you, whether it's micro trauma, macro trauma, stress from work, pressure, it pressurizes and it calcifies inside you. It literally lives inside of our fascia. There's a book called The Body Keeps a Score. There's a bunch of books on this. Energy lives inside of our body. It's like a record of the past. Our body is a record of the past. What you need to be able to do is allow yourself to express all of that energy you're holding on to and not pressurize it. What happens over time is that we were told to shh, if we're crying, especially as kids, we were patterned, ingrained, taught to shh, quiet, shh, don't. So we were taught to suppress our energy expression, suppress. And then we were taught to repress. We self-taught ourselves. I'm going to repress this. I'm not going to bring this up. If I bring it up, then I'm not going to get my needs met. My mom won't let me, or she won't love me. She won't hug me if I cry. She'll spank me on the ass because I'm crying, right? So we were self-taught to repress. And then after we repress and we start to experience the depression of it, we start to depress it. Oh man, I feel a lot of shame here in this area. I'm going to push that down. Nope, don't see that one. When we feel depressed, we feel that we can't have what we want. We feel we're not worthy of it. We're not deserving. We can't have it. Can't accept it. So we start to depress that. And then after we depress it, we feel oppressed. And oppressed is that we feel powerless, hopeless and helpless to the powers that be. But in reality, we're not. We've just pushed it down. We've patternized that we can't express ourselves in the moment. Now, is it good to express rage towards your wife? No, it's not. That's why I'm teaching you this process. Is it good to express rage in front of your kids, or to express the craziness that we just need to let out in front of your colleagues at work? No. That's why I'm teaching you this process. So the first thing you need to do is realize that this is all just energy. If you pressurize it, if you withhold it, if you repress, suppress, depress, and oppress yourself, you're just going to feel all that pressure. That's the pressure. We're going to let it out. Now, in the beginning, it's going to start coming out in just tremendous forms. You might notice that it's going to come out in laughter, in tears. You might cry uncontrollably. You might physically shake. You might notice that you just need to move, whatever that way is. Maybe you just need to dance and just fucking move. Just let yourself go. Just let it go. The point is, you got to let it go. Now, in order to do that, you have to be in a safe environment, away from other people that don't understand your process. I'm going to say this again. Move away from other people that don't understand your process. That could be everybody for now. If you are in a group of men that is in a container, what I call a container, which is the masculine term of setting up a safe environment, meaning that whatever happens inside the container is safe. You can do whatever the fuck you want. You can scream, yell, cry, kick, whatever. Yell bloody murder. Ah! You can express yourself however you need to express yourself. In the beginning, you have to set that up for yourself. If you're doing this at home, online, whatever. In the experience, in the collective, when you actually come to, like, let's say you come to our 3-day event, you will be guided through that process. Other people will hold a container. You can actually go deeper. That's why being in container with other men is so fucking powerful. You can heal years of trauma in 3 days. You can be a completely different person in 3 days. Your entire life will change in 3 days. That's why the experience, the Unbreakable Man experience, is so fucking powerful. Every man that goes through that comes out of that and they know, like, holy shit, I'm no longer the man I came in as. I know it. It's a knowing. But they got to go through it, right? So I'm guiding you through the process right now. So step number 1 is setting up the container. Container is a safe environment that you are away from anyone else that doesn't understand your process. When I say your process, I mean your emotional expression. If you need to kick, scream, cry, yell, rage, whatever, just like let it out. This is what's really funny. This is a real commercial place now, and I know it's in Austin, Texas. It's called a rage room. which I haven't been there, but I just heard about it. And so it's a quick side note. So I just want to iterate that. You can go there and people will just hold space. What you're going to need to be able to do, step number 2 in the container, knowing that you are away from others who don't understand your process, you have to psychologically set the container. So not just physically, but psychologically. What does that mean? It means that you have to be a compassionate witness to your experience. I'm going to say that one more time. You have to be compassionate witness to your experience. That doesn't mean being sympathetic, which means like, oh yeah, that's cute. Oh, whatever. Like I'm doing this and this is dumb, right? It also doesn't mean being empathetic and getting washed over by it, but rather being compassionate. Now, what I mean by empathetic, if you're being empathetic to another person and you're people pleasing them and somebody's like in the shit and your buddy's like, man, my wife's leaving me and I'm going to go drink. It's like you going off and drinking with him and feeling his feelings for him. It doesn't help anybody. Being a compassionate witness to acknowledge it means that you are a witness. You recognize, yeah, man, it fucking sucks. All right, let's maybe not go drink, but let's go, I don't know, let's go do something else. Right? You acknowledge that the energy is there, that the information that he's experiencing right now inside of his body doesn't feel good, and you change the vibe, right? You're being compassionate. Sometimes that means telling the fucking truth, right? Maybe he is an alcoholic and you need to tell him he needs to stop drinking. That's being compassionate. I know it sounds weird, but that's exactly what that means. It means holding standard, being compassionate. It's gangster. It's rock star. Allow yourself to be compassionate. All right. So you physically set the space. Psychologically, you've set the space. You are going to be a compassionate witness to your experience, meaning you're going to hold space. You're going to hear me say that a lot. You're going to hold space. If you're holding space for other men or other people, that means don't get in their process. Just let them do what they need to do. Allow them to be who they want to be without emotionally experiencing what they're experiencing. If you're an empathetic person and you just know that and you're very sensitive to energy and other people, just know that, yeah, like sometimes things are going to stick to you. You're going to feel like, God dang, I picked up on that guy's energy. You even notice this just living life. You'll go into a bar or into a restaurant or down an alleyway and you're like, I do not like the vibe. I don't like the vibe of this place. I need to get the fuck out of here. Maybe you're bringing that vibe. We're going to talk about vibe in a later time. But just know that you need to psychologically set the space. So physically you set the space, psychologically you set the space. Number 3, you know what you're carrying in there. Now, in the course, I'm going to guide you into what you're going to carry into the space. I'm going to guide you into thinking about things. I want you to, I'm going to stir the pot. I'm going to guide you into the deep darks, the things that you've been running from, that bullshit, right? But you got to carry it in you. How to know when you're ready for this work, okay? It's a lot easier, I should say, going into the gym, when we're feeling good and, oh yeah, I feel super energized. And I'm like, yeah, I want to get the workout in. You get a good workout in, you feel great. Well, that's a good day. Well, it's the days that you feel like shit that you're actually going to get the most out of it. It's the days that you're tired. It's the days that I don't want to do it. Oh, I don't want to do this extra set. It's those days that you're going to get the most out of your experience. That's the time. That's what I want you to think about. Now, what that means is in life, you will be triggered. You will feel the pressures. You will feel anxious. You will feel shame. You will feel guilt. You will feel whatever it is. I'll guide you through that in a later lesson, but just know for now, you will feel the shit. When you feel it, I want you to catch yourself in the moment. What did I just say? Just said something. All right, I'm going to bring that forward. Maybe you write it down in your journal. You're going to bring that forward, that feeling, that information. It's carrying information. The feeling is a vibration. In the vibration, it carries energy or information. Just like a radio wave is vibration, it carries information. It carries the words and the tone of the song. What you'll notice that in an emotion, there's typically a statement that goes along with it. It's like naturally tuned in. You can tune into that. I want you to write it down. Just notice, maybe you're about to go check your bank balance and you feel something. You feel nervous. Oh, that was weird. What was that? Feel a lot of shame. Maybe you feel a lot of shame about your state of your bank account. Maybe that's what you're experiencing. You feel like you should have more money. Just see it as a thing. All right. I'm going to bring that into my practice. I'm going to bring that into my deep work. That's where you'll notice, okay, I'm going to catch that. Sometimes, and I will tell you this, sometimes you'll be living life and somebody will piss you off. And that somebody could be somebody very close to you. Could be a parent, could be a sister, could be a wife, could be a child. Those are the moments where you can go off and you go do your deep work right away. It only takes about 5-10 minutes, but you got to be able to be willing to do it. Sometimes in the beginning, it took me about 15-20 minutes, but you got to be willing to have a safe space in your home for you to go express yourself. You got to express the energy. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to go into that space and you're going to carry forward that statement. You know what the statement is. So let's say you're feeling like a lot of guilt around your finances. I'm just going to use finances as an example. It seems to be a pretty common denominator for men. You're going to feel the feeling, right? You're going to notice like, oh man, I'm feeling really guilty. I'm not doing a lot of this. I'm not making enough money, or whatever statement you tell yourself. You know, you're going to carry that forward. What you're going to do in that moment is you're going to choose in. And by choosing in, you are actively saying out loud, I choose this experience. What I am creating is, and then in that statement, you're going to write out, what are you creating? Not feeling guilt. You're not creating guilt. You're creating the opposite of guilt. You're creating maybe freedom. You're creating flow. You're creating stability. You're creating abundance, power, whatever that word is. I want you to think about the opposite of what you are experiencing, because then you become a conscious creator. You're going from unconscious into conscious. Now that's super important. Now, I'm not going to go through the actual practice right now. I'm going to get you to this point. And here's why. Because when you go into the deep work, you're going to go through an expression. You're going to start moving energy, and this energy can be moved in many forms. And I'll share that in the next lesson. But for right now, you have to know just getting to the start line. When you are going through the process, this is why you need to set up the container psychologically and physically, meaning you are away from other people that don't understand your process. If you go fucking berserk in your own room and no one's around to see you, no one fucking cares. But you got to be willing and allow yourself to go berserk and just pound pillows, just punch, express, yell, scream, whatever it is. Let the energy come out of you. Surrender to your body. Your body has the wisdom that it has the innate intelligence for it to be whole. It is looking to reclaim all of the lost parts of itself. Now, psychologically, we have done that. Now, here's the deal. You have to set yourself up for success to get to this point. Going in and raging kind of out of the blue for no other reason to rage actually stimulates more rage, right? Like going in and trying to cry doesn't actually work. What you need to do is go into the container knowing what you are bringing forward, all of the pain and the hurt and the guilt and all the stuff that you've been carrying over the course of the day. And in the beginning, there's going to be a lot, man. I mean, there's going to be like some deep stuff, but maybe it's just from that day. Maybe it's just like you yelled at somebody and they cried, whatever. Maybe it's a kid or your wife or whatever. And you feel remorse, you feel guilt, you feel shame. So you're going to carry that in your mind. Why did I express that? Okay. What am I feeling? What am I saying? What part of me is running? What am I afraid of? Right? You're going to dive deep into yourself. What you're going to do is you're going to set up the container physically and psychologically, right? Meaning you're going to be there for yourself. You're going to surrender into yourself, have the courage. That's psychological. And then you're going to say, I choose this experience. What I am creating is, and then you fill in the blank, right? Whatever you're creating. And then you go through your process. Again, in the process, surrender to yourself. Allow yourself to let go and be whatever you need to do. Sometimes you might dance weird, man. Like, let yourself dance weird. Sometimes you might need to scream. Sometimes you might need to shake. Sometimes you might need to cry. I have gone through every process. Dude, literally, I have vomited because I've gone through this process deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. I've been in deep ceremonies where I'm like, oh, dude, I need to just move this energy. I need to vomit. It's literally me purging, just purging that energy out, just getting rid of it. Your body knows what it needs to do. Doesn't mean you're going to vomit every time. It'll come out and however it needs to come out. Oftentimes it just comes out in movement for me. I just need to shake. In the beginning, it was like very cathartic, meaning like very expressive. And now it's just like I'll just kind of bob and weave, and I'll just kind of like shake. I'll just kind of breathe. You'll, if you ever sit in container with me, you'll hear me breathe, breathing, just letting things go. I'll snap a lot, just kind of like letting it go, just letting it go. And imagining that I'm forgiving it. And we'll talk about that in the next practice or in the next lesson. But for now, just know that it's just letting it go, releasing it. And I'm surrendering to my body and letting my body do whatever it needs to do. I'm not trying to overthink it. I'm just surrendering deeper into my body. If I need to cry, I cry. If I need to weep, I weep. If I need to scream, I scream. If I need to pound pillows and rage, I rage. Just let yourself do whatever you need to do. That is absolutely true. Again, why you are in a safe space for this is because other people won't understand. It just won't get it. Let yourself release the pressure. The more you carry the pressure, the harder life will become. Period. The reason that you got to this point, that you're looking for the transformation, you're here because you know that, like, dude, I'm done carrying this bullshit. I'm done carrying this pressure. There's so much pressure on me to provide. There's so much pressure on me in society to be a man that looks like this, or do this thing, or go to this job, or live this life for other people. And you're so done with it because you're just not living you. And so this is just a reclamation of yourself. You're going down, and you get silly with it, man. Just get weird. That's what I say. Let's get weird. And in that, you give yourself permission. When you give yourself permission, then you can express yourself. Now, we're going to go through the actual practice. We're going to set it up, what that looks like when you're in it, all that stuff in the next lesson. But for right now, just know that we got you there, and it's going to look crazy and weird, but you're taking psychologically the energy, the emotional charge away from the experience. And in that, you can have wisdom. Again, I'm going to say that one more time. When you take the emotional charge out of the experience, you have wisdom. You now have free will choice that you otherwise didn't have. Now you can make more sales calls. Now you can have that deep conversation with your wife. Now you can fill in the blank, right? Now you have free will to do that. You have free will choice. Instead of you having mindset blocks that stop you, because that mindset block is actually not just a mindset block, it's an energy block inside of you. Now you can express yourself. So go through the next lesson, but just know that this is how you get yourself there. So if you're listening on the podcast, wait till the next episode comes out, or just go to the next episode if it's already out. If you're in the online course, Becoming an Unbreakable Man, just go to the next lesson, and I will see you guys there. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Unbreakable Man podcast. If you found this episode valuable, then go ahead and leave a 5-star review explaining how this podcast has helped you so more people can find it. If you want to be a part of the Brotherhood, then click the link in the description below. You can also check out the Unbreakable Man experience if you're ready to face a deeper challenge and change your life for the better in just 3 days. All right, guys. Thanks again for listening. I appreciate you. And as always, stay unbreakable.